Good morning. I'll just wait and see if some people hop on the live. I did remember this week to mention in my stories that I would be here. So we'll see if anybody hops on, and hopefully my Wi-Fi will behave itself this week, because it didn't last week. It chucked me off, so hopefully it will comply. Morning. It's lovely and sunny this morning actually in Edinburgh. We've had quite a lot of rain this week, like really torrential rain, which actually the garden really needed. But when we're on this sort of lockdown where you can't go to other people's houses, but you can meet them outside. So, which is fine if the weather's nice, but these days where it's just chucked it down the whole day, it's not great. Good morning. So I've got my cup of coffee, and this week I've made, I don't know if you got into sourdough over lockdown. I used, if you follow Kat Golden on Instagram here, she has the Garter Stitch Farm, and she's got lots of tutorials about sourdough. So I followed one of her tutorials on her Instagram to get my sourdough starter going, and it worked. It was really good, so I've just kind of kept it going. And I haven't made a lot of bread with it, but I have used it for pizza, for pizza dough, which has worked well. And I've been trying to bulk it up a little bit because it was getting quite small. There wasn't so much of it. So when I've bulked it up this week, so what you do is you take a bit of the old starter out, and then you add some more flour and water to give it food, and then you've got this, I think they call it discard, so this sourdough starter that you can use it for something else, or you could just chuck it. But so I looked up online some recipes of what to do with the discard, and I found a recipe to make a sort of granola bar type thing with oats and fruit and things in it. So it was really easy because you just chucked everything in a bowl, and actually it's okay. It's a little bit stodgy, so I think if I made it again I might do it a wee bit differently. But it felt quite nice to use the discard from my sourdough rather than just chucking it, because if you've been kind of nurturing your sourdough starter, it seems a shame to throw a bit of it away when you can use it in your baking. So I think I would do that one again, but just maybe tweak it a little bit. It is a little bit stodgy, but quite easy to do, which is good. I'm all about that. So if you haven't seen these videos before, before the lockdown I was hosting a weekly knit night, and I would always do some baking, and then on a Thursday morning I would have some of the baking left over, and I would when I dropped my kids at school I would come back and have a bit of that cake for my breakfast. So I've been trying to keep up with baking every week, not always successful. Good morning. So that's what these videos are about. So I'll sort of share what I've baked this week, and then I'll show you what I've been working on as well. So I've been trying to carry on with my Coraline, my 2-colour version. So thank you very much for all your support of this pattern that was released on Friday, so nearly a week ago. Oh, somebody's been making flapjack. Yeah, we're big fans of flapjack in this house. And also I like it because it's quite easy, isn't it? It's just everything in one, and you can add lots of things to it. So I've been working on this version of Coraline, which is a 2-colour version. And I was making a video tutorial for the horizontal braid to put on my YouTube channel, and then I discovered that the lovely woolly worm head has got an amazing tutorial on her website for it, which is much better than anything I could make, with really clear photographs. So I am just working through this third bit of the pattern, and I'll have another horizontal braid to do then. So the horizontal braid looks like this. So it breaks up the pattern. And so when I get to that one, I'm going to do it like Woolly Wormhead says. And if I like that way better, then I might just tweak the written pattern and add a link to her tutorial, because it really is very good. And yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until I get to the next section for doing the next horizontal braid, and then I will try that. So what I'm doing here is I've cast on in my main colour, and I've done the short rows in the one colour, and then when I start the patterning with the slip stitches, I'm using this pink, purpley pink, for the purl rows, because it's garter stitching around, and then the slip stitches are in the main colour. But I'm using, so this is a Wensleydale, 100% Wensleydale yarn, and this is the main colour, which is a Masham. Do you say it Masham or Massam? I'm never quite sure. Wendy Ramsdale, which is discontinued. But when I started knitting this, I looked up online, and you were able to buy some of there was an online shop that still had some, but they don't anymore. And I should have just bought it then when I started, and I didn't. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I've got some Let Lopi yarn, which is quite similar. It's a little bit thicker, and the colour's not exactly a match, but I could maybe stripe it in with the Ramsdale. Or there is a yarn supplier who do a Massam yarn, Laxton's. So they look like they've got some colours. There's two shades that they do that are fairly similar to this, so I might order one of each and see what they're like. But that's what comes of starting to knit something when you don't have enough yarn and the yarn's been discontinued. So yeah, lesson learned there. But I'm just going to keep going, because I think I can probably match something up, and if I stripe, I've got this ball and another ball, if I stripe them in, I don't think you'll be able to notice. At least I hope not. And I have this of the Wensleydale, and I have another whole skein, so I think I'll have enough of that, because it won't use as much for the contrast. So yeah, hopefully I can get on with that bit and get to the horizontal braid, and use Woolly Wormhead's amazing tutorial. So, and the other thing that I'll show you quickly, this is a bit of a sneaky peek, well, this is another thing that hasn't quite worked out. So I've cast on this neckband. So this is using yarn from Whistlebear. So this is the main colour. It's a lovely, almost like, it's like a royal blue, navy blue in between those two, and one of their mohair yarns, which is a bit, it's more pink than it's coming out here. Those two together. So that's a 4-ply and that's a double knit. But even though I had done my calculations before I cast on, this is too small, the neckband. So I haven't unravelled it, I just decided to leave it on there, and I've cast it on again with a bigger number of stitches. So I'll show you my swatch. There's the swatch that's going to have this kind of patterning on it. all throughout, so it won't just be a patterned yoke, it's going to have this pattern all the way and all the way on the sleeves. So yeah, I need to get on and see if the second attempt at the neckband is going to be any better than the first one. Yeah, so sometimes stuff doesn't work out how you think it's going to work out, does it, with knitting? And I wrote an Instagram post earlier in the week, and actually I also sent out an email to my mailing list on this sort of subject of picking a pattern to knit is sometimes quite hard, because you're sort of taking a bit of a leap of faith that it's going to be the right thing for you and it's going to suit you. And there was a couple of things that I talked about that you could do to try and make sure, because it's a lot of work, isn't it, knitting a sweater, and it's a bit disappointing if it doesn't fit you when you finished or it doesn't suit you. So something that you can do is checking the measurements from the schematic, and just maybe measure them against some jumpers or sweaters that you already have in your wardrobe that you like to wear, and see how it compares, and if you think you're going to wear it, and to check the fit as well and see if you like that. And similarly, is the other thing is to think about whether it will fit in with your wardrobe or what you like to wear normally. So I'm really enjoying wearing cropped jumpers and sweaters, but that fits in well because I wear my jeans actually most of the time, but I have quite a few pairs of high-waisted trousers and skirts, and which look good with a cropped jumper. But also I quite like wearing dresses with leggings or my jeans underneath, and a cropped sweater looks good with those. So if you think about what you usually like to wear and whether you think that that sweater or jumper pattern is going to fit in with your existing wardrobe, because you don't want to knit something and then find it doesn't match with anything else, or it doesn't really work. Although maybe that's a good excuse to buy some new clothes, I don't know. But it's nice if you've finished knitting something and it fits in with what you like to wear. And the other thing is, you can always adjust things in a pattern. You don't have to knit it exactly how it's written there. Sleeves are quite easy to adjust, and so are hems and necklines. So I was going to say you could have a look on my website on the blog, but actually I've taken down my website this week because I'm making a new one, so it's not there right now, but when it's back up there's a few blog posts over there that you might find interesting about adjusting things on a sweater. And the fourth thing that I had mentioned in this post about choosing patterns is to make sure that you're getting the fabric that you're knitting up is right for the pattern. So if the pattern needs a lot of drape, like my Coralline sweater does, making sure that you choose a yarn that's going to give you that, or if it's got lots of cables and you want good stitch definition, or hopefully the pattern gives you that information so that you can choose the right yarn, match them up well. And I suppose if all else fails and you knit it and it doesn't fit you, you could either rip it out and start again, or you could give it to somebody else who's going to love it. But yeah, it is a bit of a leap of faith sometimes, knitting, isn't it, when you don't really know what it's going to be like when you've finished. But hopefully some of those things might help you a wee bit. But if you haven't seen that Instagram post, you could go back. I think it was either Monday or Tuesday this week. Yeah, and I think that's me. So thank you for joining me this morning. And if you've just joined us, I will post the replay up in a wee while, and I will be adding some subtitles. So I use an auto subtitler, which quite often makes little mistakes, or it thinks I've said something really rude and I haven't, I promise. And I add those outtakes to my stories on Instagram. So if you want a bit of a laugh later on, look out for those. Okay, I'll let you get on with your Thursday morning, and I will speak to you next week. Bye.